I didn't notice it when it mattered. That's the part I keep replaying. Not the moment he picked it up, not the question he asked. Just that small window of time when I could have fixed it, when I could have seen it, when I could have made it disappear. But I didn't. And because of that, everything unraveled in seconds. It was sitting right there, on the bathroom counter, out in the open. Not hidden, not subtle, just there, like it belonged. Like it had always been there. And somehow, I missed it. I had checked everything else. That's what makes it worse. I always checked. That was part of the routine. The system I built to keep things from overlapping. Because that was the rule. No overlap. No evidence. No mistakes. As long as I followed that, nothing would fall apart. That's what I told myself. That's what made it feel manageable. Controlled. Safe. But it was never actually safe. I just got used to thinking it was. Her name was Lena. And unlike everything else in my life, she felt easy. That's the word I keep coming back to. Not better, not more important, just easier. There were no expectations, no history, no weight behind anything. With her, I didn't have to think about what things meant, or where they were going, or what would happen if everything came out. Because I told myself, it wouldn't. It started slowly. It always does. A conversation that lasted longer than it should have. A moment that felt different. A connection that was easier than the one I had at home. That's how I justified it. Not as something wrong, just as something separate. Something that didn't interfere with my real life. But that was the lie. Because the second it moved into my house, it stopped being separate. That should have been the line. The one boundary I didn't cross. But I crossed it anyway. And after that, it got easier to do it again. And again. Until it didn't feel like a boundary anymore. Just another part of the routine. That day felt like every other time. Daniel was at work. He had texted me earlier. Running late, don't wait up. Simple, predictable, safe. That message gave me the space I needed. The same space I had started to rely on. Lena came over in the afternoon. We stayed mostly in the bedroom at first, but eventually we moved around the house. The kitchen, the hallway, the bathroom. That was the mistake. Not the biggest one, but the one that mattered. Because it meant things didn't stay contained. Didn't stay controlled. I remember standing at the bathroom sink, fixing my hair, trying to make everything look normal again. Like nothing had happened. Like I had just been home alone all day. Lena was behind me, talking about something small. Something I barely remember now, because none of it mattered. Not compared to what came after. She took off her earrings at some point. I didn't notice when. Didn't notice where she put them, because I wasn't paying attention to the right things anymore. That was the problem. I had gotten comfortable. Too comfortable. When she left, everything felt normal, clean, reset, like it always did. I walked her out, closed the door, and did what I always did. A quick scan. Living room, kitchen, hallway. Everything looked fine. Nothing out of place, nothing obvious. And that's where I failed. Because I didn't check the bathroom again. Not properly. Not carefully. I assumed it was fine. And that assumption cost me everything. Daniel got home earlier than expected. Not early enough to be suspicious. Just early enough to catch me off guard. "Hey," he called out. Casual, normal. And for a moment, I believed everything was still okay. That I had gotten away with it again. That nothing had slipped through. Until he walked into the bathroom. I heard the faucet turn on. The usual sounds. Routine. Familiar. And then Silence. A pause. Small, but wrong. "What's this?" he called out. My stomach dropped instantly, because something in his voice had changed. Not loud, not angry, just different. I walked toward the bathroom slowly, already feeling it. That shift. That quiet realization that something had gone wrong. "What?" I asked, trying to sound normal, trying to keep everything steady, but I could already feel it slipping. Daniel stepped out of the bathroom, holding something small between his fingers, and the second I saw it, everything stopped. A gold hoop earring, simple, but not mine. Not anything I owned. Not anything that belonged in our house, and I knew instantly exactly whose it was. Lena's. "This yours?" Daniel asked. Calm. Too calm. And I knew there was no way out of this. "No," I said. Too fast. Too automatic. And the second I said it, I felt it. That shift. Because now it wasn't confusion. It was confirmation. Daniel looked at the earring again, then back at me. "And it's not mine," he said. Flat, certain. I didn't respond. Because I couldn't. Because anything I said would only make it worse. "You checked everything else, didn't you?" he asked. That caught me off guard. Because he understood. More than I wanted him to. I started. But I stopped. Because there was no answer that helped me. "You missed one thing," he said. And there it was. Simple. Final. The truth. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Unavoidable. "How long?" he asked. Not "what is this?" Not why. Just how long. Because he already knew. "A few months," I said quietly. The truth. Because lying now didn't matter. Daniel nodded slowly, like this wasn't a surprise. Just confirmation. "In our house?" he asked. That question hit harder than anything else. "Yes." And something in him shut down. Not anger, not yelling, just distance. Like he stepped away from me completely. "I trusted you," he said. And that was worse than anything else he could have said, because there was nothing to argue with, nothing to defend. Just something I had broken. That night he didn't yell, didn't fight. He just packed a bag. Slowly, deliberately, like the decision had already been made. "I'm staying somewhere else," he said, and I didn't stop him. Because I knew there was nothing left to fix. The house felt different after he left. Quieter. Empty in a way it hadn't before. Not peaceful. Just hollow. Lena texted me that night. "Did everything go okay?" I stared at it for a long time. Because now, it didn't feel like anything. Not exciting. Not worth it. Just small. I didn't reply. A week later, Daniel asked me to come over. When I walked in, it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like somewhere I used to belong. "I've been thinking," he said. I nodded. Me too. There was a moment, a small one, where I thought maybe, but it didn't last. "I can't do this," he said. Simple, clear, final, and I understood. Because I knew if it were the other way around, I wouldn't be able to either. We didn't argue, didn't fight. There was nothing left to fight for. We just ended. And in the end, that's what stayed with me. Not the conversation, not the silence, but that one detail. That one thing I didn't notice. Sitting right there, in plain sight, waiting to be found. Because it wasn't mine. And it never should have been there.